So today we're moving a sign from a timber rail fence and we're putting it onto the side of a container. Different ways of doing it. You've got the traditional way of fastening the sign directly onto the container, where you would drill the hole and then you can rivet it on. Another way of putting the timber rails on by pre-drilling the holes through the timber and the container and then putting a screw through, or we've got the self-tapping screws, go straight through the timber into the container in a one. Today we're going to be using the third method. We're using the 150mm Pro Bolzen self-tapping screws. So here we have the 150mm self-tapping screws. They come with the Torx head in the packet, so you don't have to worry about what type head you want. They are for fastening timber to steel, so it's perfect for what we're doing today. They've got self-countersinking heads, so as you're drilling through, it will sink itself into the timber, so you've got a nice flush finish or rebated finish. There's no pre-drilling, so it's straight through the timber, through the steel, fastening, jobs are good in. And then it says corrosion resistant, which is perfect because we're now fastening to a container which is out in the elements. So we'll give this a go. We're going to offer the timber up against the bottom of these lugs, make sure it's level, and I'm going to put some silicone round the back of the timbers. Although these screws are rust and corrosion resistant, the container won't be. There we go. Now this one, the timber will need pulling in quite well because you probably can't see it from there, but there's probably about an inch gap. I don't know if it's the belly in the container or the timber slightly warped, but either, we'll still get it. Lovely. And that is solid. Just what I wanted. So now what I've got to do is measure the depth of my sign. Again, mark up each side, timber straight on. What was the size, Harry? 608. 608 mil. 608, so we'll go down to 608. Thickness of the timber, 95mm. That should be the top of my timber. It's easy to see from the top than it is the bottom. Now I'm going to get my silicone. I'm going to pump a splodge on like I did before, and then we'll start screwing again. Silicone being on there shouldn't really affect the screw in the slightest. If anything, it's going to act as like a slight lubricant. The bulk of the silicone is going to do the job I want it to do. It's just going to basically seal up behind the timber. Now as you can see, when I'm drilling these in, I mean, I'm trying to give it as much force as I can, being stretched out, arm out, trying to keep the screw held on and like drill away. And it's hard work, but these are managing it. When you look at the back end of the screw, you can see it's got all these little blades. We know it's pulling into the steel anyway, but these just bite in and allow the screw to sink in, giving you a nice flush finish. Now what I need to do is make sure I check my level. It's a proper trade. Yeah, that's bob on me mark. So. Lovely stuff. And she's in. Now it's for the sign. Do you know what works better when you're hanging a sign? So if you've got it the right way around. And there we have it. Some of the Pro Bolzen holding the frame up. So glad they're holding really well because I'm pulling really hard. That could have been fatal. The next job of the day is to put a couple more small signs up on one on this container and one on the container opposite. We're going to be fixing in to the corner of a container. So this might be a bit thicker. But there are some considerations when actually putting these fixings in. It depends on the project you're on. For me, I know what's on the inside of this container. I know what's on the inside of that. But if I was on a building or doing something on internal on a building, property, you may want to think what's on the other side, because this is about to come through a piece of steel and it's going to be sharp and hot. So you want to make sure you're not coming into contact with any surfaces or anything like that. You don't want to be touching a cable, you don't want to go through a pipe, you don't want to be going through a gas pipe. Okay, so make sure you're doing your homework before you fasten these in. So my idea is to use the bit of wood to help stabilise it as I apply pressure and hold the screw in place. Let's see if that works. Put some silicone on, in around the hole, put my screw through the hole, and there we go. So although it's not being fastened directly through timber, I think we need the timber to aid it, scrap bit of timber to aid it, to keep it in a straight line, and get so you're allowed to give a bit more pressure to it. But then, okay, it's not countersunk, but it's still managed to recess into the sign, because it's not a steel sign, it's like composite. Need to clean though. Nice solid fixing. And there we have it. a little job is done. So wrapping up today, got the signs up. As I said before, there was 3 different methods to attaching timber to steel. We chose to use the Pro Bolzen screw. Really convenient being able to go straight through the timber into the metal. Really easy, simple. I was able to use just one hand fixing as well. Put a couple of signs up without, and I did find it a bit more difficult because I had no timber to support it, because the whole idea of these screws is to attach timber to steel, not a sign to steel. So a big shout out to Carpenters Mate for supplying the Pro Bolzen screws. If you want to check these out or anything else that Carpenters Mate do, there'll be links in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of the great content coming soon.